Thank you again for those that don't know me, but I think everybody was attending from the morning. My name is Luís Ferreira. I'm responsible for the policy appraisal unit from the Portuguese Innovation Agency, in charge to promote procurement innovation. I prepared some notes to deliver to you. I prepared in 5 minutes. I think it's almost okay. I think it would be important to give you a perspective of the background of the country before we start touching the subject. Basically is like this. This happened in 2018, so almost 1 year ago, and what we did the connection we start having with this strategic procurement was for innovation was through the Procure to Innovate, and we also luckily combine another project that is iBuy, not focused exactly on the competencies of the procurers or for this ecosystem, but we start looking to both projects as strategic approach for our national agenda for the subject. So this was the first approach, and it was announced today. First of all, we thought, okay, we are an innovation agency, we have to make an alliance with a strong player from the procurement side, and that's why the reason to you have heard about this today. To start cooperating, and we have an agreement between ANI and the Institute of Public Markets, Real Estate and Construction. They have special competencies, we have other competencies, and what we start doing for this national agenda, once we have to establish, we are committed to establish and interested to establish a competence center. Nobody knew 1 year ago what was this competence center. So what I'm going to explain you is what we did until now as a candidate, as a new competence center within this project and within this commitment. So what we start was learning from the country who is actually it was a coincidence for every countries in Europe. All of them were taking a picture about the policies, a benchmarking study, and we looked very seriously, not very impressed with the results, but very seriously about what was the criteria, what was the indicators, and this was very helpful. I think it was a great job the Commission did, because it gave us an impression about, in a fast way, how countries were behaving. So what we start to structure a strategy of implementation, was to, okay, we need to know who are those that have a minimum of literacy about innovation procurement in Portugal. And this was not easy. Luckily, both agencies were engaged at that moment. And what we did was trying to search who, and the criteria was who was involved until now in Horizon 2020 projects. So we identify a small community, and from that community, we of course launched some workshops and bilateral meetings. So what we did was to identify a group of stakeholders and a target group that we could work with to start discussing this subject, to start feeling the interest, to understand what are the barriers, what is the understanding about the subject. So And it was, of course, it's not an ended process, but it's enough done to let us understand that there was a mixture of different understandings about concepts, definitions. There is no, in our procurement law, strong definitions about this. The introduction of the innovation partnership, together with the branding of the Commission on somehow the designations of prosciutors. There was a lot of, you can imagine a lot of need to harmonize knowledge. So what we start doing is, okay, we have to start putting some guidelines to collect robust and good references about these definitions, these concepts, and at the same time we start, because nobody was talking about this, nobody knows, this small community didn't know each other. So what we started doing was, let's meet and start constructing something. And what we did was to structure a strategy and to use this group that is officially formed. There are some representatives in this room of this stakeholder group, and we agree with them that this consulting group would help us to bring not only the competence center, but different other elements of this strategy, and like, for example, to identify proper services, the most advisable or important services to deliver, etc. So, with this experience, what I can share that from our reflection, I think we need to boost and to give energy. I think we have already a spark, so we ignite the engine, but we need an activation energy. So our value proposition that is already reflected in our implementation plan is that the Competence Center will put all the energy in the first stage to communicate and create the national IPP community network in order to raise awareness. Awareness is the basic issue that we have to start with. About the advantages and opportunities of APP, and the new Competence Center will be the main platform for those who are not familiar with the concepts and want to start doing the first steps to obtain information, guidance, and support services. And now I am going to share some of the services that, in our perspective, should be services around these objectives, so minimum services. Very simple. We should start simple but well, and we don't know if exactly we will work in a transversal way, but at least we know that there are special sectors that are particular interest to get support. And so something that as a minimum service, and you will see that we are a bit ambitious for a minimum services. A central website, delivery of good practices, training and workshops. Things like this that we are organizing today are things that we prove that we are able to do, so it will be not a problem, and we will be very interested to design maybe other types of thematic workshops, tailor-made, for example. Handbook and guidelines. This is also something today is already, we don't have any competence center yet, and there are guidance on our websites available to procurers or the public or the ecosystem have access. Assistance to Horizon 2020 calls. This is something that we are considering very much. Legal assistance and a more sophisticated service that we are very much thinking about to broker, to act as a broker. I don't know, Ashley, if this is I was clear enough, but for maybe just to avoid monopolize the table. I have many other things, but I think it's so maybe just to finalize that, to do this, we are very much convinced that with the competencies from INPIC and ANI, we can deliver these services. So the competence center will be designed based on the competencies and dimension in the capacities of these both agencies from the beginning. And we are envisaging that this could be possible to start some of these services. As you see, some of them, they are already being delivered in 2021. Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
No, that's great. Thank you, Louise, for opening this session up and kicking us off. I think it's very helpful to hear the stories about how these initiatives come into place, because so often we're too busy working and doing the work that when success comes later on, it's very hard to think back about the steps that were taken to get there and to eventually replicate that. So this is part of the P2I project, is capturing these stories and capturing the steps. I think we'll compare how your story compares to the other new competence centres here. But before we do that, does anyone have any questions that are specifically related to the Portuguese experience? No, okay. So in no particular order then, I'm going to pass on to Lydia Caparelli. She's joining us from Consip in Italy. And yeah, please talk us through how you came to be involved, why you want to be a competence centre, and what your kind of initial plans are for that.
Thank you. So thank you to be here, to have the possibility to share with you also our experience, and thank you to Louise, to this warm organization, and yeah, very interesting discussion of this morning and this afternoon. We are the national procurement body of Italy, so a large one with more than 400 employees and an overall transaction value of 12 million this year, and more than 400,000 contracts signed during the 2018. A large procurement company with where innovation is a key issue, and is almost the vision of innovation is spread out in all the instruments we provide for public Italian authorities. So we deal with framework contract, framework agreement, a dynamic purchasing system, and the largest platform on e-procurement. We call it electronic marketplace. Why to have this focalization on innovation? Because innovation is important and it's not an easy task. But if this task is not led by the procurement bodies, who could drive this kind of task? So this is the question. Innovation procurement must be procurement. And in the day-by-day activity is important the role of leading also innovation. And the importance of training is really crucial. And I come from the sustainability world, so my my role is to be the sustainability manager. And sustainability is also a heavy task to share with the procurers. Innovation could be also much more complicated to share with, because it's something that is on top of the strategy. And as we understood this morning, it's quite usual that procurers like to do what did the last year. So to bring them to understand that the challenges we have to face are not only better value for money, doing more with less, but we are facing societal challenges that are really, really important, not the last climate changes. So we have to use procurement in a more innovative way just to address this kind of societal challenges. And this is the reason why innovation is so important, because we don't have so much time to change the way we are using resources, and at the same time we have to use much more the resources we have. And procurement is a big tool, is a strategic tool to change the way we do things, and also to give a message to citizens. So what about Italy? So the picture of procurement in Italy is quite, I don't know if it is unusual or not, but the picture is that from 2014 we have the national procurement body, which is concept, and then other 31 other aggregators. And the system is as such. So these subjects are together in a network that is called network system. And this network is composed by the national procurement body, 20 regional procurement body, and other 11 aggregators that comes from municipalities and from other big cities, so provinces and municipalities. So the system is designed as such, and it's crucial to address this group on innovation issues because they act as multipliers. And if you have to address training, messages, and try to force to improve in an innovative way, so this group would be the key issue. We have also an agency in Italy, which is called EGIT, that carry the demand of digitalization. And we are the procurement body for EGIT, and there is a good collaboration about the digitalization issues and also the strategic development of the ICT needs or the strategic demand for digitalization. And together with them, the composition of the actors of this picture at the national level would be really proactive in the field of innovation because we have competences on digitalization, we have competences on procurement, and we have also the network system, so these 32 aggregators that can act at regional level. So the composition would be really successful in some ways if the stakeholders would give the necessary effort to build up this kind of joint system. At the same time, CONSIP is owned by the Ministry of Economy, which is, of course, the key actor of this picture, and is also managing the network system. So in this way, we could support the demand of innovation. And also the demand would be strategic in a way that for innovation, it's important don't duplicate initiatives, otherwise you're losing a lot of money. So to understand the needs and prioritize the issues that you want to face in terms of new solutions is really important to aggregate demand and then prioritize actions. And let me finish saying that the new government creates the new Ministry for Innovation, and these complete the picture, but is just more than a month that was created. So we have to understand also the role that would play this new Minister for Innovation, and also to combine all these kind of stakeholders to enhance innovation. And just to be clear, as central procurement body, national procurement body, we don't have any mandate on PCP because it's needed a law, but we have a lot of initiatives in terms of PPI, and new and large and important one. So the meaning is that we need to combine expertise and competences and to promote innovation in a way that we can use all the instruments provided by the directive to foster innovation.
Great, thank you so much, Lydia. It sounds like it's quite a complex system. There's a lot of actors involved, but it's great that you're part of this network and that you're sending out a clear signal that you're there to support procurers who are interested in this. It's hard to get, I know, it's easy to get a bit lost when there's a lot of institutions, so it's nice when there's clear signposting available. I think I'll just hand on now to Tia from Enterprise Estonia, our third new competence centre here today.
Hello, my name is Tiiu. I come from Estonia, and we don't have a competence centre. We don't have it today. I hope that we will have it quite near in the future. Well, a few words about Enterprise Estonia. Enterprise Estonia was founded in year 2000. It's, we have around 260 people, and there are three major topics that we deal today with, and these are export, foreign direct investments, and tourism. And you didn't hear innovation. Yes, that's the key word that actually is the thing that why we don't have the competence center today. But I will talk about the word of innovation later. But yes, so far, Enterprise Estonia has been majorly export promotion agency. Export is right now has been the key words. Export, doing activities toward export is actually a low-hanging fruit. So you can get revenues much easily than to invest in innovation. So innovation is something new for us. Innovation has been from European Union, has come out from European Union peer review that Enterprise Estonia should deal with more with innovation, and luckily from this September, I tell you really recent news that this September it has been so far that Enterprise Estonia is turning to be an innovation agency. So now, next to export, we are going to do innovation activities, and Innovation Procurement Competence Center is part of the innovation agency. I'm really happy about that. Beatrice told before that it's really crucial to have government support to have a competence center to promote the activities. So this is what we have been struggling so far. So we started with innovative procurement program 2016, and we have been lagging behind mostly because we haven't had a support. We haven't had, for different reasons, support from the ministry. We haven't had, for different reasons, support even from our member of the board. So if you don't have the support, then you can do whatever you want to do, but you cannot ever reach your goals. So I'm so happy that today, beginning already, it started already this spring, this new change of mind, that we are turning our heads toward innovation, and yes, Innovation Competence Center is going to happen. So yes, as it's been really recent news, I talk about September 2019, this year, then it's right now, it's only me sitting behind the desk at my office and thinking about how to build up the competence center. Well, I'm really glad that I have had a lot of good information from this day, from today, these presentations from today. I've been writing down your good ideas, and I hope to discuss it with them in our project with our buddies from Netherlands, and then we start building. But we have idea what we could do to start up the first services. So we are already hiring 2 people next to me. I'm not soon enough. I'm not going to be the only one who will be thinking about how to build up the competence center. We will have an innovation expert, and we will have a legal expert also on innovation procurement. So we will have a team of 3 people. But we would like to start. Yes, the web page is really important, but I guess that we would start with working with our clients, our public procurers. We want to offer them mentoring service, tailor-made service for them. Well, when we will offer them mentoring service from innovation expert, we will offer them also legal advice, so we can lower their administrative burden. So this is the first service, I guess, that we will launch. But we will, for that, need right now, as I'm alone, and soon 2 people will join me, but still we need quite a lot external help. So I'm really glad that we are part of Procure to Innovate project, that I can get help from here. But we also will get help, some legal advice from private sector. I guess that's it. If you have any questions, I'm happy to take them.
That's great. Thank you so much. And last but definitely not least, we have Kostas here from the General Secretariat of Commerce and Consumer Protection in Greece. Please introduce yourselves and what you've been doing so far and what you plan.
Hello, everybody. You know my name. I'm coming from Greece. I'm from the Ministry of Development and Investments. We are a Greek CPB, which means a central purchasing body. So we have the authorization to buy centrally for the public sector in Greece for goods and services. It's very nice here to have my colleagues, and thank to Luis for all the job he has done for this very good presentation and this very good meeting. And it's good to see the new age of all these countries coming forward to achieve these innovative goals. Why? I've been thinking all this time we have been talking why innovation, why procurement and why innovation. What is procurement? Procurement is what we live in our everyday lives as citizens, because whatever our state buys, it is used by us, by our children in schools, by our buses, by our metros, in the health sector, everything. So, think that the market uses innovation, and the companies want to promote innovation to us as people who buy. So you have companies coming in telling you, I've got this new gum which explodes in your mouth. It's innovative. Go and buy this gum. and we accept it, and we buy it as customers. But it's very, very difficult to bring innovation inside the public sector and use this innovation thing to make our lives much, much better as citizens in our everyday lives. So, why we want innovation? Because we want to improve our everyday life in a serious way, not in a very, very superficial way. What we've been doing in Greece regarding innovation is that we started in 2017, where in Athens we held the second major EAFIP event for innovation procurement. The first one was held in Paris, the second was in Athens, and then we continued with a policy support facility for innovation procurement. And after that, on May 2019, we make a big event in Athens just for officials who work on procurement, which was attended by more than 200 Greek public servants, which showed us that it was very, very important to them. And we didn't realize that we'll be expecting so much people. So it was really a surprise for us that we'll have so much demand from the public sector. Which brings us to our new steps, what we want to go through the Procure to Innovate project. First of all, we have made the stakeholder analysis, which means that we know which are our main players in Greece, which we have to talk, which are the people we should be attending to. We want to create a pool of needs. So we want to have the information from our contracting authorities, which are their needs. The needs for innovation goods, the needs for innovation services. Because if we don't know the needs, we don't know what they want. So we want to bring the needs to the market, to the companies. So when we have the needs, the next phase is to meet the buyers, a meet the buyers event. We're going to bring public entities, public servants, on a sectoral basis close to the companies. We do have a lot of companies in Greece producing very good innovative goods and services, but they don't sell it to the public sector. They export it, they sell it to Korea, they sell it to the United States, but they don't sell it to the European Union, which is quite a shame for us, not only as a country, but also as a European Union. So, another thing we have in mind is, and we have been in discussion with this, with the Directorate for Research and Technology and the Directorate for Industry, is to have a special funding for innovation procurement through financial themes as Areas 3, which is a smart specialization strategy for less developed areas. But apart from that, my belief would be that it would be very helpful for the Greek public authorities if they had national funding for their PCP or PPI projects. Because when you want to do something innovative, the first thing you want to have is funding. If you don't have funding, you don't start working on such procedures. So I think it's very, very vital to decide in Greece that we are going to move in this direction and allocate a small percentage of our procurement budget for innovative procurement. Then again, a practical guide will be worked by us, which will be given to the babies of procurements, to new procurement authorities who want to know how to work innovative, and which will contain practical information and practical guidelines how they will work. And then again, it is in our intention to make in our CPB a directorate with the name of innovation in it, which is going to imply a very, very serious political intention and ability that we are going to work on innovation procurement in our CPB. I think that this has already been approved by my minister, but it has to be seen as a real result. Uh, I think that the potential is very, very big. We can have a very big impact in Greece, but not only in Greece, but also in an EU level, because I've heard that the Commission has out calls for innovation procurement and nobody comes in. So possibly there is a gap of knowledge from contracting authorities that there is a call for an innovative, but they don't know it, so as to apply. So it's either this one or the Commission has put out wrong calls because of wrong information. So it is our obligation to make the contracting authorities cooperate not only in Greece, but cooperate with Portuguese, with Italian, with Estonian, Netherlands, the whole bunch of the Procure to Innovate project, to bring them together, to gather the needs and go to the Commission and say, here we have a need, an innovative need, make out a call, because we want this call, because we gathered and talked together. I think that this is the idea for Greece, and I want to thank you again for inviting me here to talk. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Kostas. I know that we could spend a long time talking about this, and in fact we will, because we have another 2 days of project meetings after this meeting. But with an eye to the time, I want to combine the last two questions that we had, which you've kind of spent some time thinking about, which is what have been your main learnings from taking part in this P2I project and networking with the existing competence centres? And then what do you want to achieve short-term and long-term? What's your goal? What's the ambition of becoming a competence centre? It's not just the process that you're doing, but there is a high-level achievement that you have in mind. So maybe I can go to you first, Lydia.
Okay. So, first of all, a network of remarkable people. So this is the major achievement. So really, let me say that the environment is really important to share knowledge, and this is the first achieved thing. The second is that innovation is a challenge that could not be won if we're not together. And also to start from the Lisbon strategy, we are just facing the European market, but we're not so big enough to change the rules. So if we don't sustain innovative enterprises within the European market, we're not sustaining the existence of the European community itself. But to be honest, maybe we need to rethink the process of innovation in a way that also the needs must be understood. And so the effort and the prioritization of the initiatives where funds are given. And this is, in the long run, this kind of network for me is really promising in this sense, because if we are strong enough to raise our voice and say that what is really the need of this market to be realistic, if we will have this kind of strong voice, we will maybe be useful to our countries, but also to Europe itself. So it's a big issue, but I think we cannot lose the chance to think big.
Thank you. Yes. what's your main learning and what's your ambition? What comes next?
Okay, main learning. I didn't mention that I joined the project basically last week. So I cannot have lots of learnings yet, but what I know that the main value, the really crucial value of being part of the project is that today we are talking about making a competence center in Enterprise Estonia. We Estonians tend to take international commitments very seriously. So this has been taking part of the Procure to Innovate project has been a really serious argument to go forward with the competence center in every level, in ministry and in member of the board. So to keep the topic alive, it has been really beneficial to be part of this project. I'm being really honest here right now. So, but what we want to achieve in short term, okay, I'm being again very honest, but I didn't tell you before that we do have a support measure for innovative procurements. It's up to 500,000 euros per public procurer, but 50% they have to provide themselves. So this has been a problem for public procurers. This is one of the problems that they don't have that other 500,000. You don't have to take 500, you can take 100, and then the other 100 you have to provide yourself. But right now, overall budget of this support scheme is 5 million euros, and less than half has been shared. So we have a lot of activities to do to get our public procurers aware of this support scheme. So this is maybe a short-term purpose, but longer term, we now actually really want to build up the competencies in-house. So the long-term goal is to build up a sustainable support mechanism for public procurers to our clients. And this is the long-term purpose. So for that, we start building the basis.
Great, thank you. And if we can go along to you now, Kostas. Same questions, main learnings and main ambitions.
Okay, I think here, I think we are building the future, or a part of the future. First, it's an obligation for us. I think it's an obligation for me to help my country use public spending as efficient and as effective as possible, because it's all our money, our taxpayers' money. So we have to take very, very good under consideration that we have to use it in the best possible way, not by what we see in front, by what will really make a difference. It makes all the difference in the world. Another thing for me is that we're making a new reality. For me, it's an inspiration. It's an inspiration for my colleagues, because when I talk to them, I say to them, stay within the CPB, stay within procurement. We are building something. Don't you dare leave. Bring your good colleagues here. We want people to join us. So we make a good team, because we are not working here in vain. We're working something that you will be working for the next 20 years, you and your children and the children of your children. So don't leave the area. You might lose your seat. Don't go to another agency. Stay with us. So I've got a girl who's pregnant. She'll be back in 8 months. Please, can I have my seat? Don't take my seat. I want to be back here. So it's very vital. It's very vital to promote this. Then we are very, very cunning, because we are using the old competence centers as an alibi, and we blame them for everything, and as our point of reference. It means that they did it. If they can do it, we can do it. So just look at this direction and see that it can be done. So this is the whole idea.
Yes, in our time, you perhaps I'm going to give a completely different type of answer. I will try.
Sorry, Liz, to disturb you. I think we have a comment, was it? No?
Oh, a comment.
Okay.
Yeah, my idea is very much to avoid wasting the moment to link both sessions. So what I'm going to give you is our perspective of what we have learned from the competence centers. Okay, so to do that, I think it's, I don't know, maybe many of you received this information about the competence center for the first time. I stimulate your curiosity because to learn from these presentations in the future, because what we see is that there are 5 competence centers, all of them different. So, and this is very relevant for those that are trying to follow the existing ones. So the first exercise we did was to understand why they are a competence center, what was the way they did until they are now, some of them more consistent, some of them less consistent, some more older, some are new. The structures and the way they are organized are different. So what I'm going to describe a little bit is what for us was the learning from each of them, and what is the important learning to our exercise as a new competence center. So, starting from Austria. Silk, you are not? We start learning what is a really competence center, and more deeply with Austria. And what we found interesting, and it was a kind of novelty for us, it's the way they are organized. It's a constellation of organizations. They have, of course, an office, but there is a lot of support, and there was an action plan behind supporting this strategy. So, as a reference of a model of organization of organizing a competence center, Austria, we have this reference. Also, the services they provide supported in a virtual platform, which is beautiful to see, and we are deeply, it's not deeply interested to understand better and probably develop when we are not so when we start not just doing the first steps, but maybe in the future. From Spain, what we learn and what is the example of Spain for us, we think that Spain has a huge experience in how to fund innovation procurement. So we are also deeply working with Spain to understand better how these mechanisms were used and how in detail they are managing these instruments. So we are very interested because we believe that, I could not explain all the story, but we understand that it's a barrier for our procurers. As Costa mentioned, if there is no funding, it's very, very difficult. From Sweden, what is our learning basically is, and we still are working on that, but it's very, I think it's one of the cases where they develop tools, interesting tools to support a group of buyers, and the group of buyers, it's something that we have to, it's perhaps an approach that we very soon has to approach, and maybe these tools, these guidance, some soft guidance, which is very important. We are very much interested in this reference from Sweden. From the Netherlands is our great case because and the reference from the Netherlands, from our learning, is a first lesson, which is, if you want to be a new competence center, don't think that you just wish to have a competence center and the next year you will have it. So this is the first lesson and the strongest lesson. They had a way of more than 10 years. How can we think that in the horizon of a project we can do a very effective competence center? So these are real practical learnings. No, it's not only the case of the Netherlands, but we have to figure out that this is not an easy task, and we need, as I told you before, as I mentioned before, that we need to ignite the engine, but we need to disactivation this active energy, and this active energy is a budget dedicated for something to continue. So this is the next. And finally, the Germany Competence Center, we are very much looking for the examples and the experience to support Horizon 2020 goals. So, to sum up this, these are the pictures we took from each of the competence centers, and we learned from ourselves as a kind of chocolate. Then we took the best from each other. From the one. Okay. Yeah. So, and I think it's. I am done here.
You're done?
Ah, the ambition. Okay,
Yes.
Definitely change the picture that taken from us. We, of course, not because we are very impressed with the picture itself, but we want. I think we easily change the picture, delivering these services, because it's almost a scandal that we don't score. If those indicators are really they make a difference, not they are important, they make a difference, we will of course try to contribute to change this panorama. And what we think is most ambitious, I think it will be natural that this competence center sooner or later will be collaborating in a national action plan for IPP. So this is, we see for example, from Spain, they do a lot without an action plan. I imagine that there are reasons that I think they are very much connected with the role of the competence center, but I think we need to structure better, and I think this competence center can help a lot. Okay?
Great. No, thank you, Luis. I think that was a wonderful summary of how the experience of all the competence centres is informing the work of the people here today, and informing how the existing competence centres are continuing to develop. It's clear today from all the presenters that we've had that there is a lot of experience and a lot of expertise in innovation procurement distributed all over Europe, and events like this and projects like the ones that we're working.
Sorry, I thought it was mine, Ashley.
They're a great opportunity to exchange and kind of build momentum, ignite, as you say, and make this an exciting space to continue working in. So I think that's a perfect place to close the panel. And thank you again. And I'd just like to invite everyone to thank our panelists for the session.